Really, over the past month, you have seen the Brexiteers, especially the hardcore ultra Brexiteers, like who we're going to cover today, Iain Duncan Smith, Jacob Rees-Mogg. You can reel off the list of all the, big Brexiteers, have all been one thing in common, almost singing from the same hymn sheet, so to say. And that is that Brexit isn't being done, which you might ask the question, hold on a second, didn't we just get Brexit done, according to the government? We have now for about a year now, we've had Brexit properly, officially, shall we say. But to the Brexit extremists, or the Brextremists, I suppose you'd call them, that was just not enough. We've said many, many times before, the true aim of these Brexiteers was to literally completely tear down any market regulation in the UK at the moment. They are free market fundamentalist libertarians. The government should not be involved in any market regulation in any way, shape whatsoever. Essentially, capitalism should just run free and wild regardless of its consequences. And of course, that goes for all other regulations as well, like workers' rights and protection of chemicals, transporting hazardous materials, you name it. Shouldn't really matter, apparently. But that's essentially what they want to do. And it doesn't just stop there, because they have also talked about trying to tear up the European social state that Britain currently follows, which has huge ramifications for maybe things like the NHS, our social safety net, how our pensions work. Again, it's very, very worrying that they are making these noises. And the fact that currently the Tories have such a large majority, which I think they are terrified of losing. And they know too that if Boris Johnson goes, there have been several Tories who have said that there should be a general election once we have elected a new leader, which does raise serious questions that, given the current polls and the state of the polls we've seen at the moment, that they would lose that majority massively. So there is a rush by these Brexiteers to try and rush through as many deregulatory proposals as possibly as much as they can while they can do it, because they know that if they push these at a election or whatever, they would not be able to get away with it. So as always, this does expose the massive Tory gap between those who want regulations to those who don't. And as we've talked about before, a very much a Tory civil war between the post-Brexit of what all these different groups want for the UK. So, as always, before we do jump into this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So, on with this. So this comes from The Independent with the title of Tory Tensions Over Brexit Exposed, as Iain Duncan Smith lashes out at the delays in ripping up EU rules. So Iain Duncan Smith has lashed out at the government for dragging its heels over ripping up EU rules, exposing the tensions over how to find a Brexit dividend. The ministers have done absolutely sweet F all since being handed the task force reporting of proposing at least 100 deregulatory measures last summer from the Conservative lead from the Conservative leader. He protested. Iain Duncan Smith, who led the task force, warned that time is running out because it would be too difficult to make big changes close to the next general election of 2023 or 2024. If you want to write an epitaph to this government, it is full of wishful hope, but no delivery, he said. If we do not get this done in the next 9 months, most of this stuff, it is never going to get done, because we will be in the run-up to the pre-run in another election. And then at that stage, what are you going to show? This attack comes despite the fears that new legislation will lead to a bonfire of EU laws on everything from data privacy to road standards being forced through behind MPs' backs. The bill, the single bill, will completely remove any unwanted retained law and being used as a backstage regulations instead of full votes, as ministers can just insist that Brexit can cut red tape, despite the huge queues of lorries and truckers currently trapped at the Channel port for checks. Jacob Rees-Mogg has been appointed the Brexit Minister for Opportunities to identify these deregulatory challenges and to try and calm the backbench tension over the slow rate of this progress. Of course, the hard Brexit supporter call is for a rapid rewriting of the continuing EU financial rules, the so-called Solvency II, to try and create an investment big bang in Britain. Ministers believe that those looser rules would make it easier for insurance companies to invest billions in green infrastructure. But change is believed to have been delayed by a wrangle with the regulators. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, Iain Duncan Smith protested, saying, "The government has done absolutely sweet F all about this since we delivered the report to them. They should have been getting on with this now, but they haven't done a single element of the deregulation of the since I proposed the report." I think that's it. Yep. So yeah, the Brexiteers currently are getting very, very flustered about this, and they know full well that they need to try and pass as much of this deregulation stuff as well, because they know in the next 2 years it's a run up to election. It's all about the pre-show. This is what we've done, and they want to pass those deregulations now, even though they know a lot of people do not want them. And again, a lot of this deregulatory stuff is very, very, very small short-term wins, but will have long-term consequences to industry, public health, you name it, in the UK. And they want to try and sell those very short-term wins as, look how fabulous Brexit was, vote for us at the next election. That's what they want. And they want to try and get that done now, not in the next, run up to the next general election where all the opposition can just hammer in on them. You're deregulating all this stuff. This is going to lead to disasters. When if it was obviously done before, they can go, "Oh, well, you say it's disaster. Look at all this wonderful investment that we've got." Again, much of these investment things they want to get rid of, like the investment stuff, would basically mean that Britain would be open to venture capitalists, that someone could come in, like a foreign company could come in, buy up its British competitor, move all its good assets out of the UK, and then just completely close up the British branch completely. That's illegal under the current investment rules, but that's the kind of stuff that they want to get rid of. Also, protections for if, let's say, you get bought out by the company you're working for gets bought out by another company. The company then can't come in and just immediately start firing people. We see this all the time in other countries, especially in America, where they do not have these protection laws. So this is what they want to get rid of. This is what they want to unleash. This is what we have constantly talked about, not only prior to 2016, in 2016 itself, and of course since the referendum. This is their true agenda. And there is so much disconnect between the people who actually voted for Brexit and what these Brexiteers actually want to do. And we've talked about that multiple times, that that coalition is not going to last. This is why they are so desperate to try and do this as much as possible as they can now, especially while they have such a big majority in Parliament to be able to do it. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.